Welcome dear student and Jai Swaminarayan. In the previous video, we were discussed the answer of the first 12 question of the exercise. Dear student, in this video, we will discuss the answer of the remaining question of the exercise chapter number 10, gravitation. So dear student, let us start with the question number 13. First 12 question we were discussed in the previous video. So dear student, see the previous video for the answer of the question number 1 to question number 12. Now we will start from the question number 13. A ball is thrown vertically upward with the velocity of a 49 meter per second. Right? Here the ball is thrown vertically upward direction with the velocity of a 49 meter per second. That is the initial velocity of the ball is given to you. Calculate the maximum height to which it rises. The maximum height to which the ball reach, right? Or the how what is the maximum height attained by the ball, and second is the total time it take to return to the surface of the earth, right? So here the initial velocity of the ball is given to you 49 meter per second. We require to calculate the maximum height attained by the ball and the total time it will take to reach back to the surface of the earth. So now dear student, here the initial velocity of the ball u is given to you, right? So at the final, right, at the maximum height, the ball is momentary stopped. So the final velocity of the ball is becomes a 0. So here we take a final velocity v is equal to 0 meter per second. Initial velocity u is equal to 49 meter per second, and during the upward motion of the ball, the acceleration due to gravity we take a minus 9.8 meter per second square. Now, according to the third kinematic equation for the constant accelerated motion, v square minus u square is equal to 2gs. Here v we take a 0 meter per second, u is equal to 49 meter per second, g minus 9.8, and h we need to calculate. So here we instead of this we place a 0 square minus 49 square is equal to 2 g minus 9.8 into h. So from this h is equal to, we get a 49 square, that is a 49 multiplied by 49 divided by 2 into 9.8. So by calculating this we get the maximum height attained by the ball is a 122.5 meter, right? So understand dear student, from the third kinematic equation v square minus u square is equal to 2gs, we can calculate the maximum height attained by the ball is a 122.5 meter. Now how we can calculate the time taken to reach back to the ground? So first we calculate the time required to reach the maximum height, right? So according to the first kinematic equation of the motion, v is equal to u plus gt, right? Here v is a 0, u is a 49 plus g is a minus 9.8, and t we need to find. So we get a 9.8t is equal to 49. So t is equal to 49 divided by 9.8, we get a 5 second. So it is the time taken to reach the maximum height, and the same time taken to reach from the maximum height to the ground, right? So the time of the ascent and the time of the descent is same. So if we thrown a ball in the vertically upward direction, time taken to reach the maximum height is same as the time taken to reach from the maximum height to the ground, right? So the total time taken to by the ball to return back to the surface of the earth is 5 seconds to reach to the maximum height and 5 seconds to reach from the maximum height to the surface. That means the 5 plus 5, it is a 10 second, right? So understand dear student, with the help of the kinematic equation of the motion, we can calculate the maximum height attained by the ball and the time taken to reach the maximum height and the time taken to to return back to the surface of the earth. Now, question number 14, same question. A stone is released from the top of the tower of a height 19.6 meter. Calculate its velocity just before touching the ground. We need to calculate the final velocity of the object while it touched to the ground, right? So here, when the stone is released from the tower of a height 19.6 meter, here the initial velocity of the stone you will take a 0, because the motion of the stone here we consider as a free fall motion, and for the free fall motion the initial velocity of the object is a 0. So here a stone is released from the top of the tower, that means the initial velocity of the ball is a 0. So we take the initial velocity u is equal to 0. V, final velocity of the stone, that is the velocity of the stone when the just before touching the ground, we need to calculate. Here the height of the stone, the distance covered by the stone is equal to the height of the tower. S is equal to given to you 19.6 meter, and G, acceleration due to gravity, we take a 9.8 meter per second square. So now according to the third kinematic equation of the constant acceleration, v square minus u square is equal to 2gs. Take v, we need to find, take u is equal to 0, g 9.8 and s is equal to 19.6. We get v square minus 0 square is equal to 2 into g 9.8 into s 19.6. So from that we can calculate v square is equal to 2 into 9.8 into 19.6. So if you calculate v square, it is a 19.6 whole square, right? So from that the square root of the 19.6 whole square, we get an v is equal to 19.6 meter per second. So dear student, we can say that velocity of the stone just before touching the ground is a 19.6 meter per second. Right dear student, understand the answer of the question number 14. It is a one type of the example of the free falling motion. When the object is freely fall, the motion of the object is considered as a constant accelerated motion, and the constant acceleration is a 9.8. So we can use the kinematic equation of the motion under the gravitational force under the constant acceleration. Now example question number 15. A stone is thrown vertically upward with the initial velocity of the 40 meter per second. Taking a g is equal to 10 meter per second square, find the maximum height reached by the stone and what is the net displacement and the total distance covered by the stone. So here we need to calculate the maximum height achieved by the stone as we were calculated in the question number 14. And another question is what is the net displacement of the stone and the total distance covered by the stone. So let us see. Here the initial velocity of the stone is a 40 meter per second, right? So initial velocity we take u is equal to 40 meter per second. Final velocity at the maximum height, the velocity of the stone becomes a 0. So the final velocity v is equal to 0 meter per second. S we need to calculate. Maximum height achieved by the stone we need to calculate. G we take a minus 10 meter per second. So according to the third equation of the motion, v square minus u square is equal to 2gs. Here v we take a 0, u is equal to 40 and h we need to calculate. So from this equation, if you calculate the maximum height achieved by the stone, h is equal to 40 multiplied by 40 divided by 20, that is a 80 meter. So dear student, here the distance travelled by the stone in the upward direction is a 80 meter and the distance travelled by the stone in the downward direction is also 80 meter. So the total distance covered by the stone during its upward motion as well as in the downward motion is a 80 plus 80, that is a 160 meter. But the net displacement of the stone, in the upward motion we take a displacement plus and in the downward motion we take a displacement minus. So the stone again reached to the surface of the earth. So initial position and the final position of the stone is same. So we can say that the net displacement during the motion of the stone is a 0. So dear student, understand the answer of the question number 15. Now question number 16. Calculate the force of the gravitation between the earth and the sun, given that the mass of the earth is a 6 into 10 raised to 24 kg and mass of the sun is a 2 into 10 raised to 30 kg and the average distance between the sun and earth is a 1.5 into 10 raised to 11 meter, right? So now what is the, how we can calculate the gravitational force between the earth and sun with the help of the Newton's universal law of the gravitation. According to the Newton's universal law of the gravitation, the gravitational force between the two objects is directly proportional to the product of their mass and inversely proportional to the square of the distance between them. So according to the universal law of the gravitation, the gravitational force between the earth and the sun is F is equal to G, mass of the sun, mass of the earth, divided by r square, where r is the distance between the earth and the sun. So here the mass of the sun is given to you 2 into 10 raised to 30 kg. Mass of the earth is given to you 6 into 10 raised to 24 kg. And the distance between the earth and sun is a 1.5 into 10 raised to 11 meter. So what is the value of the G, capital G? The value of capital G is a constant 6.7 into 10 raised to minus 11 Newton meter square per kg square. So put the value of all the quantity in this equation. F is equal to G, value of G is a 6.7 into 10 raised to minus 11 into mass of the sun 2 into 10 raised to 30 into mass of the earth 6 into 10 raised to 24 divided by distance between sun and earth is a 1.5 into 10 raised to 11, right? So how we can calculate this? So first calculate the 10 raised to power. Here minus 11 plus 30 plus 24 and minus 22. So if you calculate this, we get the power of 10 raised to 22. And another, if you multiply and divide the other values, we get the answer 3.57 into 10 raised to 22 Newton, right? So the gravitational force between the sun and earth is a 3.57 into 10 raised to 22 Newton, right? Now question number 17. A stone is allowed to fall from the top of the tower 100-meter height, and at the same time another stone is projected vertically upward from the ground with the velocity of the 25 meter per second. Calculate when and where the two stones will meet. So we need to calculate at what time both the stone will meet and at a what distance from the top of the tower or from the surface of the earth they will meet. So let the two stones meet after a time t. So when the stone drop from the tower, right? One stone is dropped from the tower of a height 100 meter. So here the distance covered by the stone s is equal to 100 meter. Initial velocity of the stone u is equal to 0 meter per second. Let the displacement of the stone in a time t from the top of the tower be a s, right? And the acceleration due to gravity we take a g is equal to 9.8. So from the formula s is equal to ut plus 1 half at square. S is equal to u is a 0 into t plus 1 half, g is a 9.8 into t square. So we get s is equal to 4.9 t square. We get the equation first. Now another case, when the stone thrown in the upward direction, right, with the initial velocity of the 25 meter per second, let the displacement be a s dash, right? So from the same formula s is equal to ut plus 1 half at square. S dash we get a 25 into t because here initial velocity is a 25 minus 1 by 2 into 9.8 into t square. So we get a second formula s dash is equal to 25t minus 4.9 into t square. Now combining these two equations, we get the total distance. Here s plus s dash. S is the distance covered by the stone which released from the top of the tower, and s dash is the distance covered by the stone which is thrown vertically upward from the bottom of the tower, right? So the total distance is 100 meter. So here s plus s dash is equal to 100 meter. So we get a formula, s dash plus s is equal to 100 meter. So 25t minus 4.9 t square plus 4.9 t square is equal to 100. Here 4.9 t square plus minus cut out, t is equal to 25t is equal to 100. So from that, t is equal to 100 divided by 25 is equal to 4 seconds. So after 4 seconds, both the stone meet. At what distance? So from the equation number 1, s is equal to 4.9 into t square. So 4.9 into 4 square, we get a 78.4 meter. So we can say that both the stone meet at a distance 78.4 meter from the top of the tower. Or another way, we can say that 100 minus 78.4 is equal to 20.6 from the ground, right? So both the stone meet at a distance 78.4 meter from the top of the tower, or 20.6 meter from the ground, right? Now question number 18. A ball thrown up vertically returns to the thrower after 6 seconds, right? So when the ball is thrown in the vertically upward direction, it returns to the thrower after a 6 seconds. Find the velocity with which it was thrown up. That means the initial velocity of the ball, the maximum height it reached, and its a position after 4 seconds. So now here, if the ball is thrown vertically upward direction, returns to the thrower in a 6 second. So during the upward direction, it will take a 3 second, and for the downward motion, it will take a time 3 second. So time taken to reach the ball at the maximum height is equal to 3 second, and from the maximum height, it returns to the thrower in a 3 second. So here the total time is given to you 6 second. So 3 second it will take for the upward motion, and 3 second it will take for the downward motion. So it has taken a 3 second to attain a maximum height. So here the final velocity of the ball v is equal to 0, right? At the maximum height, the velocity of the ball is a 0. So final velocity v is equal to 0. G we take a minus 9.8 meter per second. So using the first equation of motion, v is equal to u plus at. V is equal to 0. U we need to calculate. Initial velocity u plus minus 9.8 multiplied by 3. So we get u is equal to 9.8 multiplied by 3 is equal to 29.4 meter per second. So answer of the first question, the velocity which it was thrown up, initial velocity of the ball is at 29.4 meter per second. Now, what maximum height achieved by the ball, right? So for that, we take the u is equal to 29.4 meter per second, final velocity v is equal to 0, and g is equal to minus 9.8 meter per second. So according to the second equation of the motion, s is equal to ut plus 1 half at square. So distance covered by the ball, u is equal to 29.4 multiplied by t is equal to 3 minus 1 by 2 into acceleration 9.8 multiplied by 3 square. So if you calculate this, we get the maximum height achieved by the ball is a 44.1 meter. Now question number 3. What is the position of the ball after a 4 second, right? So ball attains the maximum height after 3 seconds. After attaining this height, it will start falling downward motion. So 3 seconds it will take to reach the maximum height, and then after it will move in a downward motion. So for that, The initial velocity u is equal to 0 meter per second. The position of the ball after 4 seconds of the thrown is given by the distance traveled by the ball during its downward journey in a 1 second, because 3 seconds it will take to reach the maximum height, and minus 4 minus 3, so in a remaining 1 second it will cover in the downward direction. So we need to calculate the distance traveled by the ball in a downward direction in a 1 second. So S is equal to ut plus 1 half at square. S is equal to u, we take a 0 multiply by t1 plus 1 half into 9.8 into 1 square. So we get a S is equal to 4.9 meter. So distance traveled by the ball in a 1 second in a downward direction is a 4.9 meter. So the height of the ball above from the ground is a 44.1 minus 4.9 meter about the ground, right? So the ball is at a 39.2 meter distance from the ground after a 4 second. Now dear student, question number 19. In what direction does the buoyant force on the object immerse in the liquid acts? So what is the direction of the buoyant force? And when the object is immersed in the liquid, the buoyant force is exerted on the object, and the direction of the buoyant force is always in the upward direction. So an object is immersed in the liquid experience a buoyant force always in the upward direction, right? Now question number 20. Why does a block of the plastic released under the water comes up to the surface of the water? Why does the block of the plastic released under the water come up to the surface of the water? So when the plastic block of the plastic is released under the water due to the buoyant force exerted on the upward direction. So there are two type of the forces exerted on the plastic block. First one is the gravitational force, it is in the downward direction, and second one is the buoyant force, it is in the upward direction. But here the density of the plastic block is less than the density of the water, right? So the gravitational force acting on the plastic block is in the downward direction, and the buoyant force is exerted on the plastic block is in the upward direction. But because of the density of the water is more compared to the density of the plastic block, the buoyant force exerted in the upward direction is more compared to the gravitational force, and due to this reason a block of plastic block is move in the upward direction and come to the surface of the water. So dear student, understand the answer of the question number 19 and the 20. Now we will discuss last two questions, question number 21 and 22. Question number 21. The volume of a 50 gram of a substance is a 20 centimeter cube. If the density of the water is a 1 gram per centimeter cube, will the substance float or sink? Right? So if the volume of the substance is given to you 50 gram and the mass of the substance is here a 50 gram and the volume of the substance is a 20 centimeter cube. If the density of the water is a 1 gram per centimeter cube, the substance will float or sink. So if the density of the substance is greater than the density of the water, the substance will sink, and if the density of the substance is less than the density of the water, the substance will float on the surface of the water, right? So we need to calculate first the density of the substance. So how we can calculate the density of the substance? The density of the substance, what is the formula of the density? Density is equal to mass divided by volume. So here the mass of the substance is a 50 divided by volume is a 20 centimeter cube. So we get the density 2.5 gram per centimeter cube. So this density of the substance is greater than the density of the water. Density of the water is the 1 gram per centimeter cube. So here the density of the substance is greater than the density of the water. So we can say that the density of the substance will sink in the water. Question number 22, similar question. The volume of a 500 gram sealed pack is a 350 centimeter cube, right? The mass of the packet is given to you and the volume of the packet is given to you. From this we can calculate the density of the packet, mass divided by volume. Here the mass of the packet is a 500 and volume of the packet is a 350, so we get the density 1.428 gram per centimeter cube. Will the packet float or sink in the water if the density of the water is a 1 gram? So here the density of the packet is a 1.428 gram per centimeter cube. So here the density of the packet is a more compared to the density of the water. So we can say that the packet will sink in the water. Now what will be the mass of the water displaced by this packet? The mass of the water displaced by the packet is equal to the volume of the packet, and the volume of the packet is a 350 centimeter cube. So the mass of the water displaced by the packet is 350 gram, and that is equal to the Buoyant force exerted on the packet. So dear student, I hope that you understand answer of all the question given in the exercise. Thank you very much for watching my video.